Breaking news tonight on ABC 17 News at 5. Gunfire ended 3 days of terror in France, killing 3 suspects. But right now, one is still on the loose.
After Wednesday's massacre at a Paris newspaper and 2 deadly hostage situations just this afternoon, the manhunt continues for the wife of the man who took hostages in a kosher supermarket. 31 hostages were freed, 15 from the grocery store and 15 from the printing plant, where 2 brothers were responsible for Wednesday's shooting were holed up.
Today, President Obama offered up America's deepest sympathy for the families of those killed.
I want the people of France to know that the United States stands with you today, stands with you tomorrow.
ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has more from New York.
Good evening. Al-Qaeda in Yemen has now claimed responsibility for Wednesday's attack, while today 3 accused terrorists took the lives of several more victims before police closed in. 2 tense standoffs leaving 3 accused terrorists in France dead.
We're hopeful that the immediate threat is now resolved.
First at this printing company nearly 30 miles outside of Paris. Police cornered the 2 brothers they say carried out Wednesday's massacre at the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo. The Interior Minister says Sharif and Syed Kouachi exchanged gunfire with officers, then holed up inside, not knowing one of the employees was still there hiding. The brothers then reportedly called a French TV station saying they were commissioned by Al-Qaeda in Yemen and were defending the Prophet Muhammad. Meanwhile, inside a kosher supermarket east of Paris, police say another accused terrorist, Mehdi Koulibaly, killed 4 hostages. He reportedly called the same television station, claiming he synchronized his attack with the Kouachis and that he was a member of ISIS. Investigators say Koulibaly also murdered a police officer in a shootout yesterday and was killed in today's siege. His accomplice is still on the run. Today, through a translator, French President François Hollande said the country remains on high alert.
France also knows that it is not over yet with the threat.
And there is a big rally scheduled in Paris for Sunday. That is the same day Attorney General Eric Holder will meet with other world leaders there to discuss combating terrorism. Reporting live, Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News. Now back to you.
Thanks, Marcy. We'll, of course, be continuing to update you on the situation in France and the search for the suspect.
Experts say a terror attack similar to the one in France could happen here in the U.S. or even Missouri. ABC 17's Dan Messinio spoke to a terrorism expert today. He's joining us live from the newsroom. And Dan, the expert says we need to pay attention and be aware of what's going on around us.
He does, Dana. Paul Fenewald, the former Homeland Security Coordinator, tells me law enforcement, both state and federal, is just part of the equation. He says the key to curbing terrorism, foreign or domestic, is for citizens to remain vigilant.
Terrorism experts say the attacks in France are a stark and brutal reminder that terrorists are real and ready to attack.
We need to be careful as a country to make for sure that we are aware that, hey, there are still terrorists out there. They're everywhere. There may be in this country some that have those same types of feelings, and we can't get lulled into this sense of security.
Paul Fenewald tells me it's important for citizens to be vigilant, to always be looking, and if something is out of the ordinary, to report it. He tells me intelligence is always being gathered and shared between federal and local law enforcement. He says big targets such as the Capitol in Jefferson City or the nuclear power plant near Fulton aren't always what terrorists will attack because of heightened security.
The thing with terrorism we've got to be really careful of is that the terrorists, they always find your weak underbelly. And are there institutions, organizations such as schools that we really aren't maybe doing the absolute nth degree of due diligence, being having a good security posture, and are we vulnerable in those areas?
2 men pulled off the violent attack that killed 12 in France, the most brutal terrorist attack in years. Experts tell me this is the new phase of terrorism, a few or even one person carrying out the attack.
Individuals kind of acting alone, what we call about lone wolf, or maybe even a lone wolf pack. They're going to be a lot harder for some of the, at least at the national level, for people to pick up on.
Although members of Al-Qaeda in Yemen say they organized the attack, Paul tells me in many cases terrorist organizations will promote this concept of terrorism, what he calls being a lone wolf. in online chat rooms and other venues. He says he thinks we'll see more of these types of attacks in months and years to come. Reporting live in the newsroom, Dan Messinio, ABC 17.
All right, thank you, Dan. The Missouri Department of Public Safety encourages everyone who sees anything suspicious to contact local law enforcement.
Tonight, we know a man